What is happening everybody? Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Eken H9. If you don't already know, the Eken H9 is one of the cheapest 4K action cameras you can get. I got mine on sale for around $40 US, and today I'm going to conclude whether it's worth that price. First off, here are some specs. It can shoot video at 1080p 60 frames a second, 1080p 30 frames a second, 4K 25 frames per second, 2.7K 30 frames a second, and 720p 120 frames per second. Along with that, it has a 2-inch screen on the back, a micro HDMI output, a 170-degree wide-angle lens. It also has Wi-Fi, which means that you can connect your phone to it and see what the camera is seeing through your phone, and it takes a micro SD card up to 32 gigs. Now that the specs are out of the way, what does this thing actually perform like? I'm going to have some sample clips in the description. They're going to be unlisted, so you need to click those links to see them. They're all shot in the same space, so you can look at an area and gauge the difference. But the main thing that I notice is that the frame rate changes, obviously, and when you get down to 720p, it's a little too sharp. Like it's been over sharpened. To me, there isn't much of a difference between 4K and 1080p, and I think that's just because this camera only has a 4 megapixel sensor. You may see on some sites they advertise it as a 12 megapixel or 8 megapixel. It's truly only 4. I would just recommend getting this camera to record at 1080p and 60 frames a second. Of course you can record higher, which is nice, but I don't really think it improves the picture quality. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of this camera. The first good thing about it, it's extremely cheap. If you're wanting a 4K action camera, you're probably looking at a GoPro. And at least here in New Zealand, they can be like $600. So for $40, I think you're getting a steal. I also think because it's so cheap, it can be a very good camera that you use in risky situations, because if it breaks or you lose it, I don't think you'd be too mad about $40. I think it would also be a great camera if you're not too sure if you want to buy a GoPro, but you want to try something out. I think this is a good step. The next good thing about this, it has decent quality videos. I'm more than happy to use this camera for vlogs and things like that, because the picture quality is actually pretty good. I know 4 megapixels doesn't sound like a lot, but it really isn't bad. Once again, if you haven't already, check out those sample clips in the description to see what I'm talking about. The next good feature about the Eken H9, it has almost all of the features you would expect in a GoPro. Wi-Fi connectivity, time-lapse mode, although for some reason it's called the continuous mode or something like that on here, but they have it, and it accepts all of the GoPro accessories. Speaking of accessories, the next good thing about the Eken H9 is they give you a bunch of accessories. The next pro to getting an Eken H9 is this screen. Up until this generation of GoPro, the Hero 5, GoPro hasn't included a screen. But this for $40 has one. Albeit it isn't the best screen, doesn't have the greatest viewing angles. I mean, you can see it. Now we're going to move on to the things which aren't so great about the Eken H9. Number 1, the mic quality isn't good. I mean, just listen to this, it sounds horrible. And with that bad mic quality, you can't natively just plug in a mic. Although there are mods that you can do to this camera, which I'm going to do, out of the box you can't use an external microphone. The next bad thing, I've read somewhere that this may not be true 4K. It might be a sequence of images, or it might just be upscaled. I kind of read both and I'm not too sure. The next con, the menu system isn't great. It's a little bit clunky. Don't get me wrong, it works, but there's no really quick way to change settings. You have to scroll through all of the modes until you reach the settings page and then choose your setting. The final con that I have to say about this is it kind of gets a bit hot. I've noticed when I've been recording with it, it starts to get kind of hot around the lens area and by the SD card slot, and that's it. The Eken H9. Is it worth your money? I say yeah. It's a great action camera to start off with, it's expendable, and it has decent picture quality. Once I get the external mic mod done, this thing will have good sound too. Anyway guys, thank you for watching my review of the Eken H9, and I'll catch you next time.